Welcome back to the Coming Out Happy podcast. We are your hosts, Danny and Keely, and we are so glad that you're here. Welcome back to the show. Coming Out Happy podcast is all about being LGBTQ+, dating struggles, and so much more.
If you like what you hear, make sure you leave us a 5-star review and rating. We can't wait to hear from you. And as always, welcome back to the show. Hey everybody, welcome back to the podcast. Of course it's Keely here because I always do the intros. I asked Danny if she wanted to do the intro today, but she said no. But she's still here with us.
I'm just the quiet one, you know what I mean?
No, you're not that quiet. I feel like people have gotten to know you a bit.
I hope so. I mean, we do this podcast every Friday.
Every Friday. And a lot of you have been listening every single week.
That is amazing.
I think is so cool. Because I feel like you know us, and we don't know you, but I feel like we know you. We have some kind of connection going on. But yeah, I'm super excited that you're here. This week, you're going to love today's topic because it's a big one. Before we get into that, a few housekeeping announcements, reminders. So the next couple of weeks, stay tuned for the podcast. We have some amazing guests that are coming and going to be sharing some really relatable stories, and I cannot wait for you to hear them. And just keep an eye out for those because we'll be posting about them on our Instagram. We'll also be going live with our guests. I don't want to say who they are yet, but you're absolutely going to love who it is. So stay tuned for that. And then also, so many of you have been reaching out, which I absolutely love. You've been watching our Instagrams, our Reels, our TikToks, and you're reaching out about Pride Amplified, which is so amazing. But if you haven't heard about Pride Amplified yet, it's our signature program where we really dive into reconnecting back to who you are and who you're made to be so you can create really healthy relationships. So if this is resonating with you, you're loving what you're hearing on the podcast, it's the tip of the iceberg, all right? I'm telling you right now, what we talk about on this podcast is nothing what we compared to what we talk about in our program, and it is just the tip because there's so much to be unpacked. There's so much to be uncovered, and so we want to be a part of your journey where you can get live, direct support from us and really support you in a high-level way where you can step into your most authentic self, and we know how beautiful that is, right, Danny?
Oh, yeah.
The possibilities are endless when you recognize and realize who you are. Oh, my gosh, don't even get me started. We'll be talking about it a little bit, but let's get into today's topic. I know you're going to love it. It's something that's so common in the LGBTQ+ community. I've been through it myself. Danny's been through it too, and you may have been through it as well. A lot of people have been reaching out to us over the past couple weeks about this same topic. So today we're talking about losing yourself in a relationship and what that looks like. Danny, why don't you start for us?
You're throwing it at me. Okay.
I'm putting you on the spot.
Well,
that's what we do here.
Definitely. So something I thought that we would talk about because we've had a lot of people reach out to us on Instagram saying, Danny and Keely, I just got out of a relationship. I have no idea who I am. Please help. And that, I mean, it hurts our heart because we both went through that too. Something that we've seen throughout our lives, and maybe this could be resonating with you as well, is in our past relationships, something we've done a whole lot is enter into relationships without knowing who we are. And we get into them, we start mirroring the people that we're dating, and eventually we become the same person, and then the relationship ends, and we're left confused, lonely, we're not sure who we are, and we have no clue how to get back to our true selves. Can you relate to that, Keely?
Oh my gosh, I've absolutely been there, and it's so true. Can you unpack that a little bit more and what that looks like, Danny, to really lose yourself? What does that look like in their life? What did it look like in your life when you were going through it?
So specifically, like in my relationship, it looked like me acting like the person that I was dating. It was morphing into the other person. It was being unsure of myself and asking my partner to make decisions for us. What else? Yeah, I would say it's like a lot of unsure, a lot of people pleasing that came with that as well because I didn't feel like I knew what I believed. So I just wanted to make sure that everyone else on the other side was happy. So those are the things that I can remember that really stood out to me in my relationship. What about you?
No, I think those are really valid things and something that I've also experienced, but you really put yourself last. And that's when I think you really start to lose yourself because your partner, you want to make them happy. You don't really know who you are. So you're going to try to overcompensate and do everything you can for them. And that's when we start to fall back and we slip away and we put ourselves on the back burner. How many of you are listening right now and you've put yourself on the back burner for way too long and you're tired of it?
And you may be experiencing the feeling of being lost after a breakup, or even maybe towards the end of your relationship. Maybe you're feeling like your relationship is ending. It doesn't feel good anymore, and you're just confused on what your next steps are. I mean, that's such a relatable thing. We just keep hearing the same story from people, and I feel like it starts with not being sure of yourself before you enter into the relationships. Like, at what point did you know who you are, and how did it get lost while you were in this relationship? There's so many different ways it could have came about, but I just want to dive into how common it is. If you're sitting there listening to this and you're like, oh my gosh, Danny and Keely, you get me. I hear you right now. Like, we want to show you that it doesn't have to be that way. You know what I mean, Keely?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's why we do a lot of what we do. Our whole mission is to help you reconnect with who you are so you can create healthy relationships. In that sentence alone, you can see that there's a lot of preparation that goes on before you get into a relationship. Of course, I think that you can be in a relationship and you can work things out, but I think it's even better when you are more prepared, when you know who you are, and you go into that relationship with your boundaries, respect for yourself, and all of these amazing things that come into play that we help people with every day. And, that's part of what we do, because we know how important it is. Danny and I have both lost ourselves. I don't know if you wanted to share a little bit about your story. You kind of did touch on it a little bit, but I've been through the same thing.
Talk a little bit more about what you went through.
Yeah. So I had really no idea who I was. That's true. I also think a lot of it had to do with the fact that I was hiding, and I got into a relationship that was a serious long-term relationship, and I didn't know how to, do for me or how to ask for what I needed. How many of us struggle with that communication piece of asking for what you need? It's just uncomfortable. You don't want to step on anyone's toes. You're just trying to keep it even keel and, please everyone around you. The people pleaser in me was out and shining. I was trying to really, make the person I was with happy. And what I saw was I mirrored everything that person did. I tried to, become that person because I didn't know who I was, and that's just something I clinged on to. And I did that for a very long time. And what sort of happened throughout that relationship for me was I completely, fell apart towards the end when it got a little toxic, when, I was also being toxic, not saying it was just one-sided. It's just when you lose yourself, you don't know who you are, you're just on edge all the time. Can you agree with that?
Yeah, I was going to say there are probably a lot of insecurities that come up as well, because when you're unsure of yourself, I mean, that's like a really deep form of an insecurity. Like, someone who knows themselves and is confident in themselves, of course everyone experiences insecurities, but I feel like they happen a lot less when you take the time to know who you are and when you take the time to step into your confident self.
So true. I think that's why the relationships get so toxic and unhealthy, is because you literally have no idea who you are.
So imagine two people coming together who have no idea who they are, who've never spent time getting to know themselves or feeling good about themselves. Two people just figuring it out. It tends to be really turning out toxic.
That's what my experience has been. And it's unfortunate because those insecurities that we have that we never take time to work on or focus on, which is so important to do, and you'll hear us talk a lot about that, they will bubble right to the surface. Doesn't matter if that relationship seems perfect at first, because a lot of us do that. The pickings are small in the LGBTQ plus community sometimes.
Well, I was going to say, it may feel like that sometimes, but that's not always the case. Like,
that's
obviously,
our mindset, right?
Yeah, obviously there are people out there.
Yeah, no, there's definitely people out there, but compared to a larger portion of the world, LGBTQ plus community is a little bit smaller, and that's our mindset, that we're so concerned about attaching on to this this person that may not feel right. We're trying to make it seem perfect, and it's really not the case. And we've lied to ourselves and, hid all of the bad qualities about this person because we just want to make it work as best as we can. And
so maybe you hold on like a lot longer than you should.
Yeah.
I know that's definitely something I did too.
I held on for 4 years. Like, I held on for a long time because I was trying to make it work, and that's just what we do because I didn't know what I deserved. And maybe that's something that's resonating with you right now, that you feel like you've held on for too long, or you were in something for too long, and now you're fresh out of it and you feel lost, and you just didn't know what you deserved. And the way that we can find out what we deserve and to really embrace that and embody it in our relationships is to really focus on that piece of our life. What's coming up for you that you got to focus on? You got to do the deep work. And that's what Danny and I do, is we help you dive into all of that and uncover those blocks and give you a clearer path and idea of where you're going next time you get into a relationship, or if you're currently in one, working through some of those blocks so that these insecurities don't continue to pop up. Because I'm telling you right now, there's no hiding. We think that we can hide who we are but only for so long, right, Dan?
Yeah. I was going to say, what would you say to someone who's listening and is fresh out of a breakup, very, very confused, not sure the next step? What would you say?
Man, you really put me on the spot. I would say, I really would say that this is your time. Those words right there. This is your time. This is your time to put yourself first.
I was going to say, this is your time to start caring about who you are, because for so long, or however long your relationship was, you may have been caring a lot about the other person. You may not have focused on yourself.
Yeah, and this is your time to have that breakup glow up, right? Where you invest in yourself and you get yourself to a really good place, because we want you to know that you're worth it. And maybe that's something that's hitting home with you right now. I know when I talk about this a lot on the lives, it brings tears to people's eyes, because we don't play small with you. We want you to know that you're worth every single thing in your life, and you deserve to put yourself first and to do these things for yourself. And maybe you've tried to do it alone before. You've tried to figure it out in so many different ways, and you feel like you can never connect back to who you are. I'll tell you right now, we worked with hundreds of people in the last year, and the amount of people that did not have any single idea who they were, they felt so far from their true self, whatever that was for them at the time, that came to a place where they were like, I feel so much more confident in who I am, and it's absolutely changed my life, because it is a game changer. So that's what we're here to help you do. We're here to help guide you and show you that it's so possible for you to feel really great about who you are and to
you don't
connect.
have to stay stuck as well. I feel like a lot of people after a breakup, because it freaking feels like the worst thing in the world sometimes when you are just feeling like you're stuck. But I think it's like so important to know that it doesn't have to stay that way, and you're not going to get better because you enter into a new relationship, which is something Keely and I talk about all the time. Not about hopping from person to person to heal, but getting to know yourself.
And I've done that. And I'll talk a little bit about it. It's a vulnerable conversation that I've been sharing a lot lately with so many people. But I've hopped from relationship to relationship, and all that it showed me was that I was looking for someone else to complete me. I was looking for someone to come and fix me. And I had a coach at the time, and my coach looked me dead in the eyes and said, a relationship won't fix you, Keely. Only you can fix you. And I was so in tears. That was all I needed to hear. I mean, when someone tells you that and says, and I'm telling you right now, so maybe you're feeling it too, but I want to share that with you, because you're going to have a lot of heartache if you continue to hop from relationship to relationship thinking that it's just going to go away.
Yeah, I was going to say, why do you think people think it's just going to
Because
be okay?
I think in our society, we're so used to things happening so fast. Like, anything you want, you can get right away. If you want to go on social media, you can grab your phone, you can look something up, you can scroll, you can refresh. We're so used to tangible, quick results. I'm serious about that. I think that in our society, it's painted this picture of things can happen fast. For the longest time, weight loss. How many people did that? I mean, that's just an analogy here. People were like, oh, lose this in this amount of days. Do this. It's a process. you're never going to stop working on yourself. And I'll be honest about that. It's a process. But what happens when you can invest in yourself and go through a process, and that's what we do with our proven process of our framework, where we really take you through loving, connecting, accepting with who you truly are, and then going on and creating those healthy relationships. So if you can commit to yourself and you can put in the work, I mean, we can dream all day long and we can go, I want to be like this, I want to do this, I want to be this kind of person, I want to feel these things, I want to find someone. But if you don't put an action plan to that, if you don't have the backup,
you're going to continue doing the same thing that you're doing.
Absolutely. And that's why, that was a little bit longer than your question, but that is why I think people think that it'll go away. I truly believe that. I've never really told you that before. You put me on the spot there, but that's what I feel about that.
So if you're currently sitting in your car listening to this, you're maybe sitting in your bed, staring up at the ceiling, wondering when the heartache will go away, please just know that there is a way out of feeling like that, and it starts with you. It doesn't start with looking at other people and thinking, okay, when I'm with them, I'll move on. I'll be able to feel really good, and then that's it. It doesn't ever happen like that. And the things Keely and I talk about are dealing with healthy relationships, but everything underneath that is helping you heal yourself, because that's the most important thing that helps you create healthy relationships down the line.
Yeah.
So everything that we do, it's not like, okay, here's what you text someone, here's what you do. Like
here's what you wear. No.
Every single thing that we talk about leads you to creating a healthy relationship. It's not the process of, okay, here's what you say, next say
here's
this,
the perfect
next do
dating
that.
profile.
Yeah. No, we don't talk about that, because that's not sustainable for you. And we always like creating really good action plans for you. That's what you deserve. But you need to know that you deserve that too. So again, if you are sitting and listening to this and you're just confused, it's okay. It's okay. We've both been there plenty of times, dating and then just realizing, you know what, I don't feel like being lost anymore. I really want to know who I am. I want to feel good, because I don't ever want to feel like this ever again. If you're feeling like that, that's a really important feeling. And I never want you to forget that feeling, because it's what keeps you going and working hard on yourself. Or you can ignore this feeling and try to numb it with another partner, with doing other things that may not actually make you happy in the long run. And you'll see that it doesn't do anything to change your situation.
Yeah, no, I touched a little bit on that, when I was, because I said I did it. I hopped from relationship to relationship, and all that I found was I was hurt even more every single time. The insecurities got worse, and that's true. When we reject ourselves, we're further and further away from who we really are. And I talk about that a lot. So you're going to hear a lot more of this kind of stuff, because these are the conversations that matter. These are the conversations that aren't talked about a whole lot, that really, really matter and go to the root of who you are. Because that's the most important thing at the end of the day. Your authentic self in this world. The world needs to see you. I know they do. You got something special about you. You're listening right now. Whoever's listening, there's something unique and special about who you are that makes you you. And that's the most beautiful thing, and I never want you to forget that. Danny and I care so deeply about your growth and the people that come into our lives. I want to share this one more story with you. And we had someone last week that joined Pride Amplified, getting out of a divorce, getting, moving, trying to figure out how they're going to move forward, how they're going to, step into their life, really live freely for them. And, we're talking about her joining the program and what that looks like and how we're going to do that. And, they said to me that they were really, really scared. They were nervous. They didn't know how they were going to do it, blah, blah, blah. We worked through that, right? And the thing that they said was, I don't know if I'm ready, but I hope that you're there to catch me all along the way. And I just found so much, it just made me smile, because the fact that someone can come and say that to us, like, I'm jumping, I'm taking a leap, but I hope you're there to catch me. That's what we do. That's the environment that we want to create, because we're here to guide you and support you all along the way.
And that's what this podcast is for, too. For everyone who's listening now, we're here to catch you along the way, because you deserve to have people who understand you. We want to show you that we care, because we really do, and we've been there, too.
I wish that we were around Danny when I was going through it.
Trust me, I know.
Where were Danny and Keely when we needed them? But we're here now, so that's the most important part. But if you're hearing this right now and you're really, really relating, you're feeling connected, you want this in your life, and you're trying to figure out a way to get unstuck, this is your way out. Let's do this together. We'll come behind you and support you. And you got a community that gets you, and they're going for the same thing. How beautiful is that? I want you to know that you can go to Coming Out Happy on Instagram. You can click the link in our bio and send in an application for Pride Amplified. We'd love to have you be a part of this. It's a 6-month program where we take you through from A to Z what that looks like to truly change your life, step into the person that you are so you can have these healthy relationships. We're here for you every single step of the way. And again, stay tuned for all of the next podcasts that are coming up. I know you're going to love them. We're bringing in new people. We've been talking to you a lot. It's just been Danny and I. We want to bring in some other voices, some other perspectives to really connect with you all. And again, if you had a takeaway from this podcast, I'd love to hear it. Why don't you send us an DM on Instagram at Coming Out Happy. Let us know you listened to this episode and what your takeaway was. I can't wait to hear from you, connect with you, and just get to know you a little bit better. This doesn't have to be a distance thing. We can really connect in not person, but virtually. Thank you so much for listening today. We really, really appreciate it. And if you like this podcast, you're on Apple Podcasts, make sure you leave us a 5-star review and rating. We can't wait to hear what you have to say about it. And we'll see you next time.